Today, a new guest on What's on Your Mind. I'm Peter and I give you Ariane Verrijken. And what's so special is about Ariane is that she actually is mixing the more spiritual philosophy with really personal growth and mindset coaching. As she has started her career as a huge Tony Robbins follower, she has also followed lots of his trainings and also is certified in his wisdom. What I really like about Ariane is her strength, because she's going to tell you a very quite shocking story in our conversation, and that strength that she has is really unbelievable. Enjoy.
Welcome to What's on Your Mind with Peter Snowart. Every week a guest talks about his or her story, and that story can inspire you to change your own. Here's Peter.
Hi Ariane.
Hi Peter, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing very fine. I've just been on vacation, so all rested and feeling great.
The batteries are recharged.
Well, it was in Switzerland, so there was a lot of walking, so it was very physical. Yes, I feel much better. In the past with the corona, I've been sitting too much, so
Okay.
it was walk around. And, I've been glued on the screen working with people. So I was happy to be in nature and to be around. Yeah.
And the Corona thing, what is the impact, or was the impact for you personally and on a business level?
Well, personally, it's been quite a ride because, of course, the news came for me just like for everybody else.
Mm.
But at the same time, we also got the news from that my husband has cancer. So we had to go into chemotherapy and all of that in less than a weekend. So the lockdown was very special, and it was a big test for me to see all the things that I'm teaching to people and that I have learned going through life, if it really works. And so I'm happy that it's working. It's been a time for our family to grow together, to be there for each other, not to lose ourselves into stories. So that's one thing that happened personally. Immediately, when I felt there was so much fear, I started a workshop. It's called Expand, and it's on energy and what fear does, and how it's affecting us, and how it's affecting also our businesses, because you know that I'm very involved with entrepreneurs, and so what is it going to do with our businesses and our economy? So that's the first thing. It's funny when I do those things. I just wake up and then all of a sudden I know I have to do that, and I go to the computer. And Peter, I'm not technically all that great, but then it seems to just work out great. So that's really nice. Business-wise, coachings were not in person anymore, and going to companies was just finished. So that's finished. Yeah.
And do you think a coaching virtual via a Zoom call or in real life, is that the same?
I had actually, I started to become a coach many years ago. It's more than 15 years ago. I did that in the States. So actually back then there was no Zoom. That's already a luxury. We had to do it on the phone. So
Okay.
I'm extremely good in hearing the problems. I don't even have to see a face. So I found Zoom a luxury. But I think for some people, for them, the screen is sometimes a bit more difficult. For me, it's certainly no difference. I even think it's more efficient somehow. You don't lose yourself that much in the polite little talks.
Yeah.
It's more, let's get right through it. I like also to share the screen, on Zoom we can share the screen and you can immediately show things and draw things and stuff. So I really enjoy it. The only thing is you're sitting a lot.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of, otherwise, at least I go to the door, I open the door, you know, I have a little peek outside, and then I come back in. So now you're just sitting a lot. That's the only negative for me.
What I noticed when you talked about your husband who has cancer, you say that in such a peaceful, and maybe it's the wrong word, but in a more positive way. It's just like, oh, it's just like a breath of air.
Yeah, well, well, as I said, it was a big test. When I just came back from India, not even a week prior to the news and prior to the lockdown, because when I was in India, and I'm taking entrepreneur business classes in India with ONO Academy. And so we were there, you know, I was there, it's an international group, but the Chinese weren't there because they were already in all the Corona thing. So we were actually kind of a smaller group and we were really enjoying it. And so I was flying back and my husband said, you know, I'll come and get you, but I have a lumbago. And I said, you know, if it's okay. He said, no, I really want to see you. And it's funny because Pritici, which is the woman of the couple that is doing some of the teachings, I asked her, and so you see, there's no coincidence. I asked her, I said, you are so centered in the now, and you say everything is energy, and that we cannot lose ourselves in stories. I agree with that. But let's say your husband, who, you know, they're an incredible couple. It's very inspiring to me. And he's dying, you know, or he's dead, you know. How long are you going to mourn? I mean, how sad are you going to be? And she said, you know, I'm going to be devastated because it's the man of my life. And we do all these incredible things. They're really anthropologists. So it's incredible. And so I said, here you go. So you see, then you go into the sadness and you go into losing yourself. And then she continued and she said, but after a day or two, I think I'll just pick up. And I was like, and so I said, explain. And she says, you know, I will often think of him with much love. I will meet him because for them, you know, they just go into many dimensions. So I will meet him anyway, but there's so much work to be done for this planet, for the business. They're doing a lot for business people also, all over the globe. And, you know, we cannot lose ourselves in having stories and limit ourselves. And I was like, so inspiring. So little did I know that only 4 or 5 days later, I'm arriving in Belgium and my husband had a backache. We go to the hospital, another test. On Friday, they say, you know, he's got bone marrow cancer and you cannot heal it. You can postpone it, but you cannot heal it. And that was on Friday. On Monday, we need to immediately start with chemotherapy because he has like a tumor, which is 11 centimeters by 5 by 6, so really big. And so then you're like, you know, it's like a bomb, you know. I had never experienced this before. So it's funny because I really did it the wrong way. So I was there and I have pain in my elbow, a tennis elbow. I don't know how you say it. Elbow. And so the only thing I could say was, I have also a pain here. Maybe you can tell me what I should do about it. So the brain needs time out to figure out what to do, what to say. So I just thought I talk about, so my husband is looking, the doctor is looking like, what kind of a woman is this? It's really funny. And then you go home and it kind of collapses. And it, you know, Peter, it goes from why I'm a good person. I'm helping so many people. You know, I try to do my best. I work really hard. I'm really trying to help create platforms. I'm doing all of this. I'm doing pro bono things. You know, why me? Why me? why is this happening? How did I attract this in my life? So this is one of the things that happened. But then it switches over to, oh no, my husband, poor thing, he's never going to survive this. This is not his way of thinking. He's an entrepreneur too. He's going bam, bam, bam. So he's not the guy to be ill. It's going to be horrible. Then you have your children who all go into crisis and they're crying. So it took me 4 days.
4 days.
After 4 days, this is it. We never know when we're going to die, and to be honest, I'm not afraid of death. I think we're passing through to something that is much more us than we are here in our limited selves on Earth, and we'll make the best out of it. And so for a long time I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want their compassion. It's very important to me that the energy, this is what I think true leaders do. They keep their energy up, so this is what we do.
And you just mentioned there is no such thing as coincidence, which I totally agree. Does it also mean that the cancer of your husband is a gift, a means to learn you certain lessons that you did not learn?
I'm certain it is. It has been already something that we are actually already thankful. And on the 20th, he's actually going to have his transplantation. So it's going to be a really rough road still for him ahead. But already now we're saying, it's hard to explain. It seems like what we're getting out of it is that we're becoming even more efficient, that we have less lost time, lost moments. There's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of joking, but there's also a lot of really efficient good talks, like arranging in case he would die in a few weeks. And it goes so smoothly, and so I'm learning a lot from this. If you do not lose yourself in those emotions, which they're raw, I mean, this is raw. If you don't lose yourself in those emotions, you're actually, there comes a clarity and a very clear-cut focus, allowing much more joy in some way.
Yeah.
So this is already something that we said, this is pretty amazing. So yeah, we're just very grateful, I guess, so far for the time that we have. And nobody knows how much time we have, so we're not losing ourselves in that thought.
Beautiful. Now, 23 years you have worked in real estate, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And then you became a coach. What happened there? What triggered you? You wake up in the morning, I was like, I sold houses enough. Now it's time to bring out my purpose and reshape the world around me. What triggered you to?
Well, actually, I think I'm a kind of a complex person, like most of us are. So I have many interests. And I actually, since I'm a very young age, I was always fascinated by the brain. And I was always fascinated by buildings. I love the smell of bricks and
Okay.
the earth and the way a house is built and when it's still humid, and I love it. So it wasn't really a surprise that I went into real estate. In not even 6 months, I started my own business because I figured I could do better. Now,
did you work as an employee before, or?
Yeah, I worked as an independent person at Sorinco. He's a realtor in Antwerp, well known. And after 6 months, I figured, I can do better. Now, the thing is, I really, I looked at the real estate in a way where I wanted to find people a home. I was not the typical seller of a real estate. And I've been in the paper. I had like a page full because I was one of the first female entrepreneurs, so that was kind of funny. But I've always done it with a big heart and caring, and so that made us pretty successful. So what happened is about 3 years. No, that was about 8 years, something like that. I divorced from my first husband. Now, this was very painful for me. Although I decided to leave, it had been extremely painful for me. There was one thing I would never do, and that would be a divorce. But I got health problems, and the doctor said, if you continue this, you'll be under the ground in 2 years, so stop it. And so I decided to leave. And I remember being on a crossroads, and we often have those crossroads. And I was on the crossroad, and I said, okay, I can go either I become, I say it in Flemish, een witte wijnwijf, which means that I start drinking white wine just a little bit too early, around 3 o'clock. And this is the way I'm going to deal with it. Or I'm going to look for answers. And it's really funny. You want the whole story? It's a little, you want it or you don't want it? You have to tell me.
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay, so at that time I thought, my husband was cheating on me. So I thought, because at that time you could still catch the bad guy, your husband, and then, take all of his money. Mm-hmm. And I knew that would hurt him at least as much as it would hurt me. So I went to it was just when internet came on. So what do you look when all of a sudden you have your computer and you can go into the world, so what do you look for? Well, I looked for Tony Robbins.
How did you go from real estate to Tony Robbins? I mean, the internet, was it something like mid-90s or something?
Yeah. And so I was in my office in real estate. I'm having a bad marriage. I need to leave him. I need to find a solution for my kids. And at the same time, there's internet. I used to live in the States. I lived there for 8 years. And I often looked at the infomercials of Tony Robbins. So I knew his name. Mm-hmm. And I had his tapes, but I could never afford him, And I said, what do you look for in the world? So I ticked Tony Robbins, and guess what? He's coming to Frankfurt in 2-3 months. So I'm saying, okay, I'm buying the ticket. I'm going to tell my husband, I'll go to a detective, which I did. Really, like in the movies, like in a very dark little room, a guy with a big cigar. And I said, I want to have my husband come. And I said, okay, we'll take care of it. So I go to Frankfurt, but I didn't read about what it was about. It was not my focus. I had another focus. And so all of a sudden at 5 it started, and little did I know that 2-3 hours later, the man is yelling, cold moss, cold moss, cold moss, preparing us to go over hot coals. So here I am, before I know it, walking these hot coals. And when I did, it was such clarity, such strength. I came up the coals. I took my phone. I said, all bets are off. I'm going to do this on my own. I'm very proud. I left my man without asking for money, with the focus of being good parents and not fight, and to continue to have our families be together. And that's what we did. So I'm very proud of this. But this was such a strong awakening, and this strength that I could find after years of being really unhappy. And I was addicted to Tony. So I did everything with Tony, and I became a senior leader and did many things with him.
You know him personally.
That was a start. That was a start.
You know Tony personally then?
Yes, I do. Well, no, it would be wrong to say today that I know him personally. But yes, he came to hang with us. But I don't think if you would say, hey, Ariane Verrijken from Belgium, I'm not sure if he still remembers that. But at that time, we were only 3,000 or something. So the people that worked there, we were only with about 20. So, and he came, and he still does. He comes and talks to the senior leaders, before we go on. So, but now we're with hundreds, we're many people. But back then we were 20. So yes, I have pictures of him hanging around us. I was a witness of him meeting his wife.
Yeah, his new wife, his second wife,
because she was selling some kind of vitamin or something in the hallway, and so we witnessed that first.
And I mean, so it was around the 90s. I mean, now Tony Robbins is as like accepted, I would call it, especially also in Europe and Belgium. But in the 90s, personal growth and personal development, I can imagine it was still like La La Land, woo-woo, what's kind of, how do you call that? It's fake. It's they're taking all your money. Did you experience that when you started as a business coach, transformation coach?
Well, when I started as a business coach, and this is how life goes. When you're on your path, the path opens for you. So what happened is, I did it really just because I didn't want to become an alcoholic. So I just wanted to continue. So I became an NLP trainer. When I dive in full force. And so what happened at a certain time, people came to me and they said, how do you do this? I was for a long time, I was alone. I had 2 kids. I had my own company, and I was laughing and I was having a good time.
How young were your kids?
6 years old. They're twins, so they were 6 years old.
How did you do that? Working so hard and then raising a family?
Well, it's once you start really become very much aware of what you want exactly, and you start making it little things on which you work every week, it just kind of happens. I remember, and I tell every client coming to me, and I do the Wheel of Life, which is an exercise that I love, and it's really a great tool. And I tell people, you don't have one thing that is saying finance. You need to have it. I've got that really from Tony, and people say, I said, I did it when I did not know if I could pay rent at the time when I left, but I figure, if everything goes wrong, I can go the weekend there with their dad. I can go work at the Quick. It's like a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I can always do that. I always look for the solutions. So I'm not going down as it. I'm pretty good in managing states. And I think that's one of the most important things a successful person needs to do.
Yes.
Manage the state. It's all about the energy. It's all about the states. So how do you do it? You need to be aware of what you want, and then you move towards that, and you keep your state going, and the path opens. People came to me asking me, how did you do that? And I didn't have a penny. So like I said, I wasn't sure I could pay rent. I think after about 10, 12 years, I was financially independent. Okay. So just because I had that one part to which I was starting to give attention to. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm super wealthy, but like this is happening. There's less clients. I'm not worried. Yeah. So this is a very nice feeling to have.
Yeah. Now, you call yourself the doctor of obstacles.
Yeah, I love them.
Where did you get that, the doctor of obstacles? I mean, you're talking about the self-limiting beliefs, I assume, amongst others.
Yeah, the thing is, actually, we have such a potential. I truly believe we're all geniuses. Maybe not the genius that we think we ought to be, because that's what society says, but we are all geniuses. So what is standing in your way is what I call the programming. And programming could be limiting beliefs, but programming could be your DNA that is altered because of the energy you have, the emotions that you have on a daily basis. And you know, most of them are negative. This is the way our brain is wired. So it's so important that you start realizing when you are programmed. It's like a computer. Don't make a big story. I had stories in my life. They were not all that fun all the time, certainly not. I had even a very rough start in my youth years, but it's still a programming that's in it. We can alter it, and your DNA is changing at that time. So this is something that people do not realize and don't take it seriously. I will even go further. It's not only your own programming, but you attract the programming of other people into your life. So the people you live with, you work with, even if they're people you don't like, they're very much part of your DNA. So people need to become very much aware of this. I went to graduate with John Grinder, you know, that he's a founder of NLP.
NLP, yeah.
And so he's saying NLP, you know, it's fine, but for him it's new code NLP, and it's only states. You know, don't lose yourself in stories. We're telling ourselves these stories, and the sad thing is we're taking them very, very seriously. These are your obstacles. And so if I call myself Dr. Obstacle as a coach, but even if I go to companies, I go straight on, you know, because wake up. I want you to wake up and don't take it all that seriously, so that you can start doing something really good for this world and for yourself, for your family. You know, it all happens. It starts with yourself. But if you lose yourself in those obstacles, you have no chance, you know.
And
Yes.
you believe that there are still a lot of people, especially in organizations, who take that victim role and who, how do I say that their thoughts and their negative beliefs, that they are identified with them?
Absolutely. Who is not? Seriously, who is not? Listen.
But I assume, because you are doing the work, that the big difference is that a person who is not doing that inner work, when the thoughts are coming, that he or she thinks, it's a thought, so it's my ego, so this is who am I, and then the emotion and the reactive patterns are starting. But you, as you are doing the work, combined with also meditation and other practices, I mean, there is a gap between thoughts. And so this means that you can, first of all, you're going to select the mental state that you want to be in the moment you wake up. And when these negative thoughts or beliefs are coming, you are so aware that you can say, okay, but I don't want to choose this. It's just a thought.
It's actually a more loving process. It's actually very intimate and very loving. Listen, Peter, the minute you push it down, like, I don't want this,
make it worse.
It's going to come into your fucking face. Sorry, my French. It's going to come in the face. So it's more like, this is really interesting that I have these thoughts. So imagine it rather as there is this immense space. That's who you are. And in that, there is such an entity, which is thoughts. And there is such an entity, which is electromagnetic. Yes. And so the thing is, when we start thinking things, expecting them that this is the truth, that this is it, you lose track of what is really. So you need to start realizing that you are adding both up. It's and the thoughts and the field and the electromagnetic field, that brings it all together. And if you're starting to take one of them seriously, you know, I like spiritual leaders, but if it's all about only the field, then I'm saying, why are we here on earth? So we need to be able to utilize and be very curious and intimate and very sweet. You have to realize, Peter, that most of our thoughts, our beliefs are from before you're 6 years old.
Yeah, I know.
For 2/3, so this is very, for most of us, very unsafe. And that's why we came up with these incredible good stories,
Because they defend us, they protect us.
Yes, but they're just a little bit outdated. So when you're talking to that little person, do it intimately with a lot of love and respect. You're not going to say, this is stupid, put it away, be an adult now, and choose for a good goal. You know that I give the solos in nature, which I think is the best leadership thing that one could do. And it's actually a ritual for shamans. And also,
can you explain a little bit what
yes.
that means? Because I know what it means, but can you, for
Yeah.
people,
So
what can I expect there? Yes?
Yeah, the solo is a vision quest. Yeah, and the vision quest with the old Indians was actually when you go into adulthood. And what you need to do is you need to go for at least 3 days into nature. You go naked and without any foods.
Okay.
And you need to be there 3 days and survive. And the master is holding the space and the master is waiting for you downstairs. Now, the way I give it, you get clothes and you get a tent, but you're not eating and you're alone and you get just a few rituals. And I always tell people, my entrepreneurs, they love it and they say, no, this is going to be great. I'll have 3 days to write out my business plan. And I'm like, no, sorry, no writing, no pen, no reading, no phone, no watch. Yeah. And so what is happening, your ego is it comes up, and it's fighting and it's trying to bring you on other ideas. And then there's a point when you look at it, you move through the waves, you come into that openness, that limitless. And it's so peaceful and you're coming home. And we have to do it without food and in all these ways because it's the fastest way. And as an entrepreneur, you want something to fast result. Anyway, that's the way I am. And what you undo, you're not doing. You take off the doing. You take off the thinking. But there are thoughts coming from so deep. I was so surprised. My first one was so manipulative.
Okay.
I said to myself, I'm all alone here. So what I'll do, I'll just go down and I'll go and eat and sleep in a fucking bed. What am I doing in a tent? I never had a tent before and I never fasted before. So this was all new to me. And I'll just say in Antwerp that I did it. No one's going to know. And then you breathe through it, You recognize what is going on, and this is how it goes. But after that, you're so free of it, of things you don't even know. I don't think of myself being manipulative. I really don't. Actually, I hate that kind of people. So it may not be a surprise that this is coming up with me. Yeah, so it's in me. It's in all of us. Everything is in all of us. So let's be very gentle and intimate with ourselves, because that's where the path is showing. That's where you're coming at home, and that's where you're naturally inspired. It just opens up. You don't have to do anything.
It's about being. It's
about just being yourself and remembering who you are, because of course, we get anchored 3,000 times a week. When I read that, I was like flabbergasted. So we don't know who we are. It's time for us to know who we are. And so certainly in these times where economy and everything that we thought was really standing is collapsing.
Yeah.
And it started in 2008 with the banks. That was
Yeah.
a big one, that a bank could go bankrupt. Who would ever
Mhm.
thought that? So everything, we could have never thought about this going and happening, and no more flying, and all these things happening. It's incredible. It's been 5 years that I've been telling people, in 5 years, I need to be ready because something's going to happen. I thought it was with me. People say, what do you mean in 5 years? Where will you be? You will not be dying. I said, no, I don't think I'll be dying. Little did I know that this is what is going to happen. We have an enormous shift. So you better be in contact with yourself for the sake of yourself, but for the sake of our younger, because I really think our youngers are much more sensitive.
Yeah.
They're much more smarter. They go fast.
And I think, and it's not thinking, but I feel that is the most important thing, is to come as close as possible to who you really are, and letting go of that false identity of masks that we have put on all of the years.
Mm. It's true. But, we still need the identities. Yes? So this is the way we materialize things. We just need to see what works and what doesn't work. We need to become aware. And before being aware, you need to contemplate. And contemplation is one of the most important things. Look at it as it is. I always say, don't come with a story. Look at what is playing. What is happening outside, but what is happening inside. And when you really contemplate, if you can put it just outside of you and look how you think and how you feel and how you react and what the environment is triggering. If you can just see it out of you, it is no longer part of you.
Yeah.
And it then gets the space. This is what the solo does. You take it out of you. Nature helps you. Nature shows you. There's animals coming to show you what is still in you. It's the most incredible journey. But this is what you do.
So actually what you are doing is that virtually you're going to be stripped by your clothes, of your clothes, and be naked, but not the real clothes, but that's actually the metaphor.
All your costumes.
Yeah.
All our costumes and our makeup.
And I know that Tom has done it, Tom Dekkers, who has also been my guest, because he mentioned you as one of his teachers and role models. Why do entrepreneurs want to go through such a transformation, do you believe? Because, I mean, a lot of people see entrepreneurs as these high million earning people, caring about status and prestige and things like that. Why in the hell they're going to sit in a fucking wood for 3 days without food, smartphones, computers, and so on? What drives them to do that?
Interesting. I was looking at a movie just this weekend, The Last Night. I don't know if you saw it, but it's about King Arthur and The Last Night. And the thing that really, I said, oh my God, it's the round table. And so, of course, they're the bravest of the bravest. And they say, brother to brother, my life is your life. That's what they say to each other. And I think that entrepreneurs have this night in them. Nobody's going to be so crazy to start a business, especially today, knowing that the percentage of going bankrupt is incredibly high. Most of them start off as artists. They have an idea. Many of them don't even know what entrepreneurship is.
Correct. They start from a passion, eh?
They're artists. They are pulled most of the time. And what happens over the years, it's growing, it's successful. When you reach like 10, 12 people, you get into this more difficult area where you become more of an operator than the creator.
Yeah, indeed.
And then this is happening where you don't have time anymore. You're just running, and because you see this, it's your passion, it's your vision, it's your purpose, yeah. So you fight for that purpose, just like a knight does, yeah. But they lose track of themselves, and they wake up being tired and saying, I did not know this was going to be like this.
That's not what they signed for to do. That was not their dream, eh?
That's not their dream. But how to? Do you learn how to run a team? Do you learn how to communicate? Are you learning by being vulnerable? You just gave me a typology of an entrepreneur. Successful, they want to make it, get the big money, blah, blah, blah. There are some of those, and most of the time they don't run very long, but many of them, they have a great heart. Yep. They have a great love, and they lose contact with themselves and soon with their family. This hurts me and so motivation goes down. Motivation that goes down takes about 48% away of your return on your investments. This is enormous. We do everything to gain 2-3%. It goes up to 48% if you have an employee that is not motivated. But how can you motivate somebody if you're not anymore yourself, because you're not connected? So I'm not surprised that it is entrepreneurs that go, because they have the blood of the knight, or they would have never started. But they lost sight, and they have to retrieve to come back and serve again. So I think this is the energy. Actually, when I speak to the solo, you have to decide when you leave. And I speak about the archetype of the warrior. You need to have and I believe that the entrepreneurs have that in them. Not everybody does.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You're a great storyteller, Ariane.
I know, I love stories. Although I don't like stories, I love stories. So that stories talk to the subconscious much more.
That's it, indeed. Now, you mentioned that feeling is the most important asset you can develop in the business world. I mean, it's a more of an assumption or a perception that in the business world, it's about that male energy, so that typical rational, where emotions and feelings are seen as weak. But you disagree with that.
Well,
of course, I also disagree, to be honest.
Yeah. No, but I think, again, it's not choosing. If you're going only the rational, you lose a lot of information. I'm extremely developed on knowing my own feelings, and therefore I can easily read others. People say, how do you, I opened the door and I said, you're bang, and then they like, how do you know this? But that's just because I'm very in tune with feelings, my own. And you have mirror neurons, so you can easily, we can all know it from each other. How nice would it be that we can connect without all too many words and then get to business, and create a better world? How nice would it be?
But it's easy, but you have to get out of your own way.
You have to do a solo, yes? Or another, I love this a little book I once bought, and it's Op het matje roep. I forgot whose it was. It's a little tiny book, but it was really nice little drawing. And it said, we have like a carpet, in Flemish, op het matje roep. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how you say it in English, but, it's a place to contemplate. Mm-hmm. So it says there's the entrepreneurs most of the time. What they do, they're running in front of that little carpet, because they're always busy and having to run left and right and being busy, They cannot, they want to, but they cannot. And if it's vacation, they'll probably get ill. Because finally they can let it go. We call it in Flemish, these people, kieken zonder kop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a chicken without a head. When we cut the head, the body keeps on going. Never saw it in reality, saw it only on movies. But this is what they do. They don't have their head really with them. And these are the ones we call the yang rational people. Mm-hmm. It's funny. because they're
But,
actually running
but, there,
without a head.
but there are still a lot in corporate world, eh?
Yeah, but they're running without a head. So what are the results? They're running all the time without a head. A head, they think they're rational, but they are not. Then you have heads without chicken. Now this is new, but those are the people who are complaining all the time and don't move. So the chicken without the head hate the heads without chicken.
Okay.
What we need to do is come on the carpet, slow down, get clear, feel clear, then come into action. You gain so much more time. Yeah. But still a lot of people are doing the chicken without the head because that's in our programming.
Yep, indeed.
But it's not efficient.
It's also learned in business schools, eh? Allez.
Harvard is pretty good in feeling, actually, in mindfulness. This is really the better business schools are really Lausanne. You go to Lausanne leadership courses, incredibly very fine-tuned on what we need, what we feel, what talent.
That's true, but it's for the last 10 years that it has transformed. Eh?
Yeah, that's true. So the old school and even a lot of the normal schools, if you see our school system, my daughter's going through school, it's still the old system of 100 years ago. So we still have a lot of work to do on that regard also. But the new leader needs to be somebody that is in tune with himself, with his feelings, because he gets a compass, an intuition that is so accurate. We need to learn that language and that we can count on it. I use it all the time. It's for me.
It's not, it's personal, but once I discovered that compass of intuition, I mean, it makes my life and also business much lighter and easier because it's the way to make decisions is it's like just said like a half an hour ago. It gives that feeling to indicate where the path of the positive energy is, and the path is unfolding. And so if you follow that, everything's gonna be all right. But I still see a lot of people, and I don't want to generalize, but it's typical a male thing. Where when you mention the word intuition, they're like, excuse me? So they're still in their heads, and then from their head taking decisions where they are, and again it's a programming where they have forgotten what the intuition is and how to listen to it, because they have put it so much away by hard working or drugs or alcohol or whatever, or smoking, or I don't know what. So
it's not something that we're used to listen to, because actually the voice is, as you know, more damped. Yeah. It's more sensing than it is a clear voice. But you need to learn it. That's why I decided to give a year traject that is called the Quantum Entrepreneur, where we peel the onions and you go from the programming, we go looking at business from a different way, we go into the intuition and into the heart. To be able to connect is not something feminine, it's something very masculine. And it needs an enormous warrior. It's very difficult to be vulnerable. Yeah. So these are things that people need to learn, but I believe, Peter, these numbers. It's only 1% of the world population that does personal growth. For many, they don't spend any money, and I spend all my money if I can. I'm constantly learning and developing and pushing myself. I think it's necessary that people need to learn the new language, And so learning a language takes time, and it takes commitment, and it takes discipline, or you will not be able to speak it. But we have it all in us. It's not something that we need to create.
Yeah.
We have to just peel it off, and we can do it. And I believe, Tom, like you said, I carry my heart. It's one of my biggest ambassadors, and I'm very grateful to him. And often in his enthusiasm, he says, and I told this person he needs to really come to you. And I said, Tom, as much as I love you and I thank you and I'm extremely grateful, I'm very happy that you mentioned me. But Peter, I think you are ready. When you are ready, you will know it.
Yeah.
There might be some fear, because we are not used to it. Like the quantum, you might say, oh, that's a lot of money. I'm not sure, something like that. You might think that. That's a form of fear. With the solo, you might say, no food. There's a form of fear. Fear is part of the game. Fear is the gateway. So expect the fear and go through it anyway.
Yeah.
But beyond the fear is another world that is already yours. It's nothing that isn't yours. So you can...
But it's also that, I mean, last week I got a call from a person, and he said next week there's going to be a gig, as I'm a musician, and he told me, can you substitute me, because my father is dying and I want to be sure, and we have to play that gig. And I was like, okay, so we're talking here about a virtual Hands of Face, which means they are recording it, so it stays forever on tape. Tape on disc, and it's going to be broadcasted. I know a couple of musicians. I never played with them. There are new songs. There is no rehearsal. My head is saying, what are people going to think or say when you make a mistake? And my heart is excited and like, yes, let's do this. And so for me, anxiety or the fear and the excitement feels actually the same, but it's just another side from the medal. It's just how you look from it. And of course I'm going to do it because I love it.
It's beautiful the way you say this, because both of them, I love reading biographies of successful people, and they all speak about this fear. They all speak about it. But feel the fear, look at the fear, and you will recognize it. Fear has many colors. Is it a fear that you really shouldn't be doing it because actually your intuition is saying not to do it?
It's because it's dangerous. Huh?
It could be dangerous, but it could be not the right thing to do at this time.
Okay.
Really could be. Yeah, not like life-threatening, but it could be. Your intuition will also let you know that. Yeah, but many times feel the fear, go through it anyway. And as I said, there's a world. It sets standards, it's a little bit like I forget names, but the person that was running really fast and set a new standards, really.
Yeah, Usain Bolt, what's his name?
Yes,
yeah.
It was not visible.
Yeah.
It was not humanly possible. Yeah. And the minute he did it, in that year, 3-4 people did it too.
Yeah.
So what is this? It becomes when each time you push through that fear for yourself, yes, but also for humanity, you bring it to another level, and you bring it with your heart, because only your heart can push you through it.
I mean, I still remember it was the end of January, and we were on a holiday in Egypt, my wife and I started recording videos for the Selling Without Selling Your Soul video course, and I was like, I said to her, I didn't have a shower yet. It was in the morning. I said, I'm going to record now live video. I'm going to put it on all social media, saying that I'm going to release my first video next week, within 1 week. And I can assure you, I felt the fear, but that's also, I felt the excitement. And once I got through that fear, I was like, it's there, it's out. I cannot delete it anymore. Of course I can, but I won't. And then the same thing happened the night before when I was going to publish it. And I was like, my first video, and I was like, this is now going to be everybody can see it, everybody. But now we're like July. It's like natural to me.
Yeah.
And so I meet people, yeah, I want to do the same what you are doing. Why don't you? Yeah, I'm not like you. I don't have the guts. Yes, you have.
Yeah.
I have the same, but I just did it.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore what they say. I'm just going to do it.
Exactly.
I cannot explain why it is, but it's you recognize that fear and you say, yeah, okay, let's step into it. And it's that silent voice that says, just go, have fun, and enjoy, because there is the pleasure, there is the growth. It's going to be fantastic. And when you're over there, it feels amazing.
And it opens, right? It opens for you. It opens for others. Certainly know this feeling. Is something that I had often brilliant ideas that I did not act upon because I let the other side of me control it. What would they say? It's too big, it's too much, it's too this, it's too that. And then within a year, each time, another person did it and was successful at it. Yeah. So I believe that things are in the field and that we can pick on it. Yeah. If you don't act on it, if you don't get to go through the fear, somebody else will. And that path closes. Yeah. So this is how you create your own prison. So, but we need to learn this. That's why I created Quantum Entrepreneur, because we need to learn this and we need to experience that we can count on it, because otherwise it's all, it kind of, it's kind of, so we need to really embody that we can count on it, that we can learn this, to work with what's already there. Yeah, that's what it is.
If you would go back, how young are you now, Ariane?
I'm 57 years young.
57, 50 plus. If you could go back in time and you would meet Ariane when she's 18, what advice would you give her?
Oh my God. Look at your programming. Become aware of your programming. There is such thing as programming, and look at it. But around that age, I was actually 21. I failed law school. I felt like a nobody. So I have a strange story, Peter. If you tell me it's time, let me know. But so this is what happened. I failed. I felt like I was a stupid chick. I'm blonde, so you know what they say about blondes.
Yeah, but you at least have hair, Ariane.
Huh?
You at least have hair.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I hope it's hair.
Yeah, it is still. But anyway, what happened is my father was a lawyer, and he worked in the States at times, and he was there, and I told him, if there's anything I can do there, I'll go. He calls me. 3 days later, I'm on a plane to Texas. So I'm stepping up like a failure, running away because everybody looks at me as being stupid. Anyway, that's what I told myself. And I had, at that time, it was about an 11-hour flight. I had 11 hours to think about who I was going to be. Yeah. Now, this is before I know anything about NLP. So at that time, we still smoked in the plane. So I smoked some, I drank some. I watched one movie, because at that time there's only one movie, and if you're not well seated, you don't see the movie. And you do a little sleeping, and then I figured, what am I gonna say? Okay, who am I gonna be? Okay, I have my bachelor in law, and I'm extremely intelligent, and this is how I got off the plane, and there was no stopping me. There was no stopping me. And everybody thought I was the smartest, and I was working great, and people wanted to be surrounded by me. So this is the power we have. I did not know. Now I know consciously how to lead people to things. But I did those things at that time, not knowing. So look at your programming. It's just programming. Change your stories. Change your life.
Beautiful.
It's that easy. and you still have time to do all the other crap. I'll probably tell her not to smoke.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, you know, I think.
Do you take care now of your body? Because in
I
the
do.
typically before your 30s, like smoking, drinking, eating bad foods.
Yeah, I do take care. I think the smoking, I smoked, the smoking and eating and drinking and drugs, they're there because you cannot confront something.
Of course, it's
Yeah.
it's numbing you.
So
It's running
if
away
I
from
would have
things.
said
Eh?
don't smoke, maybe I would look at the program faster. So yes, they are there telling you that there is something very painful and very fragile that cannot be uncovered yet. Yeah, it's just programming.
And in that category, hardworking.
Same, it's a drug. Do you do it because you're so connected? I was very inspired by Krishnaji, who is like Tony Robbins. They have like 15 some companies. So I asked him, I said, Krishnaji, how do you do it? A family life. He has a wonderful daughter. They're very inspiring. And you have all this, what do you do? And he says, well, I'm extremely clear. I take the time, I'm extremely clear of what I want for each thing. Then I go into connection. I pull myself back and I am in the working mode is 3 days a week. During the time I do not live at home, I don't participate in the family life. This is what works best for me. I have Zoom calls, I have it extremely connected. I listen and I have a vision and the vision is opening and through the connection, it is actually happening. And I was so inspired by these things because you see, we say, oh, family life. I mean, man needs to be everything today and women needs to be everything. And this is a whole other topic we can have sometime. But my God, it's not easy to be in a couple these days, you know? And so we think we have to get up at 7, then bring the kids at school, and then we have to all eat together, and then we have to, it's all programming.
Yes,
What?
because I believe he's from an Indish, how do you call it, from India. I mean,
India?
in India, there's a saying, a proverb, and they say it takes a village to raise a child. So there, it's not the mommy and the daddy who are raising the child. It's literally the family. So there are days that the granddaddy or the brother or whatever is watching the children, where the parents are doing something else. And it's also, and I really believe in that system. And the reason why is that the mommy and daddy has limiting beliefs. So when the child is always around the mom and dad, so it takes over that limiting beliefs. But when it's in the neighborhood of other people,
Mm-hmm.
then the limiting beliefs are, if the mom and dad are completely mentally fucked up, the child will also be mentally fucked up. But when the child is also in the neighborhood of other people, then that impact of just the mom and dad will be, wouldn't
Of
be
course,
so.
we have the stories from generation to generations. You know, if
Always.
you want to see what your husband's going to be like, a kind of a man, it's going to be look at his father. Yeah, so you have stories that go generations to generations, but the whole point is when we are young adults having children, and in all tribes, there is, I'm not saying the whole village, but part of the village is also busy with this child, taking certain parts, because the parents still need to look at their own programming. They still need to become themselves. We are being programmed till the age, men 21, 22, women 18. Yeah, I don't know why the difference, but this is how it is. But then they need the time to realize it has been the programming and how do I stand in it. And then they can become more valuable to a child. And so often that's the grandparents. Yeah. So this is, we're talking about a lot of the rituals. And if we look at all tribes, there's so much we need to learn from them. And luckily more and more people are bringing that back in. I think rituals are extremely important. And knowing in the evolution of mankind and the years that you are in, it's very important to know for yourself that you need to have this room. But today we need to be super daddies, and we need to go to every football game or hockey game or basketball, whatever it is. And we need to be with all the friends, and we need to do it. Then we need to get it. And it's not workable. We are fragmented and we are in pain.
And we are losing ourselves in the whole process.
And when we lose the contact with ourselves, Peter, we cannot connect with our children.
Yeah, it's true.
We do what we need to do because that's what the program says. That's what the movies say. But we are not living it.
So that's why that we should reserve time to be alone and spend time to be alone with ourselves, preferably in nature, to, how do you say that? To let go, to really discover who we really are again, over and over again. And this is how we, our children, then will see, instead of running away from everything and always being in the noise. Because I now feel that I need that space and I need that stillness. Otherwise, I cannot be creative. I cannot focus. I don't have clarity. And I'm actually not there. So when I have that space, when I meet him, I engage fully. And I think that's more important than just spending every minute of the day with him.
It's priority number one. Connect with yourself. And that's the little carpet I talked about. That's where you come and you reboot. That's where you face what you need to face. That's where you face the fear. That's where you get clarity. And then it opens up again. Like you say, your creativity starts to run. But actually, it's flowing again.
Yeah,
it's the meridians in our body. It's the same thing. Yeah. Or the chakras, they get locked. Yeah. You get ill after a while. So if it all runs, the body is fine, but the emotions are fine. If you look at, for example, all these kids having ADD, this is a reason because we are not bringing them in contact with themselves. If they would not have this problem anymore.
For people who are listening and who want to do that, are coming in contact with themselves and also their children. And how do you do that? Are you going to advise them stay in a woods, stay in a forest for a couple of days with your children? Where can you start easily? The meditation?
Yes, I'm starting tomorrow. Actually, they can go on my site. And it's from India, and it's every Wednesday from 8 till 8:30, and we'll meditate. I'll give a teaching, a very short meditation. It's more contemplation, and there is a happening. There's energy moving. And it's on every facet. It's connecting with your universal intelligence, but it's also the children and education. It's your passion, it's your work, it's stress. And it's also dealing with the departed, because we clinch on to the departed, and it's also blocking our energy. There are many things out there. Some are a little bit too fluffy, so you need to be watching out a little bit. Try to find...
What do you mean by that? They're a little bit too fluffy, because there are...
I'm going to explain you. There is in the way that you are connecting, so you have first material, but the first thing that we encounter is a first feeling of a much bigger love, so we expand and it's all wow. But a lot of them are staying in here, in this area. And in this area, we're not where we need to be. We need to go past that, and then you come in this vastness. It's much more, I would say the first layer is very feminine. The other one is much more masculine. So it's how can I explain? When I'm in the first phase, and I sometimes join group, they're all about hugging, and they go, oh, we are the world, and they're stuck into that. So there's a lot of that, But if you go beyond that, then you encounter people, and they don't mirror you anymore. It's so in the beginning, I thought it was cold and very distant.
It sounds really the world of awareness, consciousness.
Yeah, it's really pure awareness. They don't mirror it back.
No
They don't get it.
projection.
So it's such a thing that for me, I had to really get used to it. But this is where you need to be. This is where it's all.
And you say it feels like it's cold. What do you mean by that? Because there's no projection or no mirroring.
I'm a very bubbly person.
Yeah.
So in my programming world before, I would say, and I would, like you said, I tell good stories. So, people are reacting. They're laughing. They're saying, oh, you have good stuff. And here, it's like blank. Yeah. Because, of course, it's one of my first drivers. Yeah. Is to get in contact with you through my storytelling, through my bubbling. Yeah. I'm very much aware of it. Before I was not, and it went over the top. Now it is more normal. And I realized, so these are things that if you become aware, if I could give you advice, take some time on the carpet, just breathe, very consciously breathing, and look what the program is doing. Very gentle, with a lot of love, but with no bullshit. Don't take the crap and don't lose yourself in it. And little by little, you're peeling off. Now, I must say, I've always had masters. ONO Academy, Tony Robbins is one, Master Co is one, Grinder is certainly one. So I've always had master. If I show you my library, it's enormous. I take courses and I keep on going, and so I'm very passionate.
Did you? It's an interesting one. The courses and the books. I mean, some people think there are a lot of charlatans. I don't know the exact word. Crooks in English. In my experience, I never encountered somebody who was just after my money in that world of self-growth, personal growth. What is your experience in that?
I had
one in 20 years or something?
And it was a group, and it's the name is Avatar. I like to tell it because I think they're dangerous. If they hear this, they'll probably sue me, but okay. They're very powerful, and there is a lot of base on Scientology in it. So the exercises are extremely good, yeah, to get you to peel the onion. But that's why I like the word contemplation. You go step by step and you are aware. If you take exercises that are extremely powerful, but you're not able to assimilate, you become very vulnerable. And so they programmed you at that time to bring people in. And I have known people that stopped working, sold their house, and with all kinds of promises. So I had it once. I think it exists. Have some common sense. Try to feel, if there's a connection with you, for example, Peter, allow people to call you and ask if you know people, so many people. I have many people asking me, I'm thinking about taking this, what do you think, what do you feel? I will always be very happy to share. But this is just one experience. I was I'm not the guru of Tony Robbins. I'm in that movie, actually. I was working for him at that time. And the girl that's going through one of the, was in a sector,
Yeah, the blonde one who was from Brazil, who sold her furniture and everything. And then she was in a sector where she was actually sexually abused, She was a
Yes.
beautiful blonde girl from Brazil, I
Yeah.
remember. And then she started
Incredible,
her own thing.
incredible, beautiful person and intuition, and had all the support that she certainly deserved after life. But what so it exists. I think in the States it exists a lot more than it does here. But let me tell you this: don't let it be the story that you are not develop yourself, that you will not do personal growth, because that's really a very stupid thing. You might as well say, I'm not going to drive a car because I might have an
Yeah,
accident.
but it's true. That's actually the point I want to make. Is, I mean, if I think about it, I had one, and I'm not going to call the name, but I had one experience where I was like, and it was about meditation. I was exploring different. It's already 5 or 6 years ago. I was exploring several meditation programs, and they were really creating a show, but in a negative way, and they were really saying all the other methods are bad. So mantra, whatever, it's all bad. It's not working. This is the only method we're going to show you, to bring in some candidates. And they had like a woman who was sexually abused, abandoned by their parents. It was an awful story. And they let her meditate, and they did with a brain scan. So you could see how her pulse and her brain, I don't know if it was real or not, but of course it looked like it's real. And then you had to pay lots of money, and it felt so off. And yeah, I mean, I'm a seller, but not without selling my soul. I really want to bring something. I want to transform people, organizations, whatever, the same you are doing. And I charge big money for that. And I'm okay with that because it's energy. But that was wrong. That was really ripping money out of people's pockets. That was so wrong. But that only experience, but all the rest, I only meet people who are doing it with a purpose, from their heart, with lots of love, and never had any bad experience. Never,
It's
ever.
it's also very interesting because we're entering, if you're looking at astrology, we're entering a very new area.
Yes.
And so all that more fluffy, that guruism
Mm-hmm.
sector belongs to the area before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're entering now much more seriously, much more focused area. It's a very different area, and you can feel it. So this very strange thing that I talked about also is from that area, and it has been many years, about 5 years, 6 years, maybe 7 by now, that it has been. So today I find that there's a lot of people that with real stories, with real experiences, with real energy. You can feel it.
Yeah.
And you can feel the transformation as is. If you follow, like, for example, what I do tomorrow, you will feel transformation going just like that. Yes? The transformations are going much faster. Yeah, the energy is changing, so transformation is going much faster. And you have high quality people. Another thing that I found, especially also during the COVID period, people stick together. We know each other for a long time.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
we all of a sudden now is a time that we need
Yeah.
to come and talk. So you find a lot of that going on too. So I truly believe that we cannot hold back for this 1 or 2% that might still from the previous time be in this area. I don't think it's all of that. And I think you need to be aware that the 22, 21, 22 is still going to be a rough road.
Yeah.
So that you better get to know yourself.
Yeah, indeed.
Because you will not, it's like not having a North Star.
Yeah.
And things are still going to shovel and
Yeah.
maybe around you collapse, because the lower your energy, the lower you will experience in front of you, that lower energy.
Yeah.
This is the way it works. So you need to understand this because you are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, but I also think that the purpose in life is really about joy. I mean, I really believe that. And
Creativity,
yeah, and if your vibration level, your energy level, is so low, so you're living in this kind of a mental state of irritation, frustration, guilt, things like that. I mean, life is going to be very tough on you, and it's going to be very rough, and then you'll have a very painful life. But if you work on yourself, you will get a much lighter life, and you can actually become connected with life as itself and universe, and then everything, your potential will be manifest, everything which is inside of you. And it's really having that transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And yeah, and if you don't take the necessary steps, you're going to be so far off who you really are. Yeah, and life is going to put you on your knees and going to make sure that you are learning the lessons and try to put you on the right path until you get it.
Yeah. See, that is the whole story, of course, around cause and effect. There is no cause and effect. We still think about cause and effect. So we're looking at it being in the fucking shit. But you need to rise up from a higher stage. You can see there is no cause and effect, and there is only you creating it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no cause and effect. You're just creating. It's about creation, and creation doesn't matter for it what you want. You might go to Bobbejaanland or whatever, and I like the very joyful little rides, that with a nice little music and turn softly on the water, and I see a little frog and a little flower. But my daughters, they love the scary 8 kind of thing going.
Roller coasters.
So they love it. It's scary. They love it. They choose it. So look at it that way.
Yeah, this.
What ride are you? If you want a scary ride, you're free to have it. You just think about it and it will be there. Yeah. But don't be blaming the world that there's only scary rides in your life. This is a little bit how it works. But it's hard, Peter. It's very hard to accept this if you have never understood how the game actually is playing out. Yeah. But it's all about freedom of choice and creation.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people realize that after a burnout, mental breakdown, depression, suicidal tendencies, divorce, trauma, all that shit together. Same with me. But but when you discover that, when you find out, I mean, then you see people without judgment that they are putting their happiness, I'm going to call it like that, outside of them in material things and of status and things like that. And then you say to yourself, yeah, but there will come a time that thing which makes you happy right now will make you no longer happy. And then what? But once you discover that feeling of creation, that feeling of fulfillment, that feeling of that positive energy which drives you, I mean, you don't have to look for a purpose. You don't care about age. You're just you're a man or a woman on a mission. And it's like your character on that roller coaster. But I mean, I also like I like both of them. I've experienced both. I have the roller coaster with the free rides, I would call them, and then I'm now more in a phase like I like the music and I like to see the dwarfs and the swans and things like that, and it's okay for me. It doesn't have to be that, and I use music to experience the more, I wouldn't say wild side, because then I can play somebody and be creative and connect and touch people's hearts. So yeah, but once you discover that,
it's being aware that you can choose.
Yeah, see? That's it.
But when you're not aware, you just think that you're a living roller coaster. You're wondering, why am I a living roller coaster? Yeah. It's always happening to me. Why is this shit always happening to me? You see, and you have to understand that you're actually choosing the roller coaster.
And also another one which I find very fascinating is the I amness. I mean, a lot of people see that I am an accountant, I am a lawyer, I am a father, and they limit themselves.
Can I show you a picture? I don't know if you can see it because I have it here. Oh shoot, where is it? I have the picture for the quantum entrepreneur. Oh, here it is. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so this is the picture for the quantum entrepreneur. You have the little man sitting. That's the role. That's the identity. But who you actually are is the big man.
Yeah, indeed.
So this is. Yeah, we take those identities. We're the CEO, we're the friend lover, we're the lover of animals, or we're a very good mom, or whatever. You know, we take it so damn seriously. And that's the story. Oh, that's the story. And it really, everything outside is measured against that one identity.
Yes, but if you then, like I just said, if you see it from a limiting belief, as most people do, but I flipped it around. So I say I am the I am. But this means at that level I am, but if I do it in a physical material way, I can put whatever I want after the I am. I am a musician. I am a piano player. I am a guitar player. I am a YouTuber. I am a podcaster. I am a sales guy. I am a lover. I am whatever. So exactly. And it's always, I am a traveler. I am whatever.
Yes.
And I found that so amazing. So that opens so much, opportunities. Whereas if you ask that people, what are you? And then I am this. No, you're not. I mean, if I take that away, you're not. Okay. And they're like, I'm nobody anymore. No, you're not. You're everything.
Yes.
But it's that emptiness, which is just that infinity.
Yes.
Infinity. And you think you're nothing. You think emptiness is a bad thing, that space. But it's just everything. 99% of you, and it's proven scientifically, is space is nothing. No thing. Nothing. There's nothing.
No. You look at atoms and the neuron and all of that, there is only space. Quantum physics is so interesting. If you start to look into that, there's only space, and the material that is manifesting is depending on the person creating it, really. So there's no materialistic. It's all an illusion.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful movie, and you decide if you make it a romance, or you make it an adventure, or you make it a thriller, or you make it a pornographic. Why not? It might be fun. You know, you decide what movie you want to play in, and that's the creation. That's really the creation, and we are all powerful to do that. And you know, it's for a lot of people, the most difficult question to answer is, what do I really want? We know what we don't want, and we bitch on, and we judge a lot of people. But to say, what do you really want? When I hear you, Peter, it's nice. You're just saying, I'm the YouTuber, and it's gonna be like this, and then and you're just into creation, and you're creating all the little movies. It's great. That's what I did in the plane. I decided, who am I when I'm gonna land, and I just acted upon that.
Yeah, that's it.
Jack Canfield, when he gives his training, so I don't know if he still does it, but the last day, he actually asked everybody to come dressed and in the mindset of what the goals they have set and the work they have delivered. Show up as. Be the change you want to see in the world, Candy. You know, it all repeats itself. When I read so many books, I just see it's all the same.
It is.
And the more I see it's all the same, I start realizing this is what is.
It is. And that's why, for me, it's that paradox, is that you are, and that role that you want to be or becoming, but at the same time, you are detached from it also, because you are so much more than that, because only having those 10 roles is not enough, because there is so much more if you want to.
It's that's why I said in the beginning, it's adding it up. So you could say you have all these puppets, like playing a poppenkast. Yeah. So you take one and you put your hand in it and then you make it
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the hand making it move.
Yeah.
You see? Then we take our hand off and we take another one and we making it move. What we don't, we think that we are the puppet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. This is very strange. No, it's a calculation. It's adding up. It's both, you know. But we forget that there is a hand that is going in and out and in and out, and without it, you know, I lost both my parents and also my ex-mother-in-law, which I loved and cared for very much. I was with them when they died, and it's such a wonderful, extremely sacred thing and privilege to be there, because you see the hand going out, but you feel the hand still. You know, it's such a, I think maybe that was one of my biggest really realizations of seeing it. And if we can just grasp this and understand this, then it becomes much more creative, much more playful, and we really can create a better world. We do not have to manipulate. We do not have to judge. We do not have to compare. We don't need to.
But it's I
And
mean, a
if
flower doesn't compare itself also to another flower.
no, it's just perfect. You know, even more so, the aspen trees, they are connected. You know, the aspen trees, they give feedings to the youngsters, you know, and then they take it back to themselves when the youngsters are strong enough. Everything, when you do a solo, you understand it. It's so connected.
I
I,
mean, if I breathe out,
yes,
that air is
but
going to be part of somebody else in Germany within 2 weeks.
yeah, it's true.
So we are all connected.
Yes,
And that's how that's the same thing with what we are doing right now. So we have an experience in flow. We have some kind of co-creation. It's not about you. It's not about me. But it's that relationship which is between us. That mastermind, I would call that third mind, and that is creating some experience which is the total is more than the sum of the underlying parts.
not
Somebody
only
was playing.
that, but we are creating a field. So anybody watching is taking up that field.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's even more than that. It's not just words. It's not just a movie. It's
Energy.
very much an energy that is transported. Everybody listening. I believe that the people that are going to listen need to hear, need to be there. There's no coincidence in those things. Yes. So this is incredibly connecting. In the solo, as I said, I remember that I was the second solo was very, very cold. And I came out of my tent and there was a little bit high grass and the sun was on it. And I had, well, I think 100 of springkamer.
Yeah, whatever.
Something that jumped. Whatever. You could hear them. They do like bzzz, and then they jump. And they all jumped against me. And I got very angry and I said, I need the sun too. I have a right to have the sun too. You know, when you're solo, you're alone, you don't care. You can do whatever you want. And you say all these things. So I was angry at them. And I said, I can be here too. And I can have my room and things like that. So the third day I opened the tent. All the colors had changed. There was such a peace, such a love, such a brightness, I cannot, any words I'm trying to explain is not going to cover it by far. But again, I was sitting in the high grass and they were there. I could hear them. None of them touched me. There was also no anger left in me. There was not thought about me not having a space in the world. I was part of that, and therefore there was harmony. Not one touched me, not one. And I'm so surprised. These are such lessons. The lessons are in the very small things. Take time to slow down and see them. See them. Go on your little carpet. See them. Contemplate. The truth will set you free. I do believe that that's true.
Yeah, indeed. Ariane, you're a wise and beautiful person.
Thank you.
And we're almost heading for 2 hours. I think it's it's by record. It's by record the longest podcast I ever have done. And so you have the #1 spot for that.
Yay!
And I'm so happy and grateful having you as my guest. And I want to thank you.
Thank you
for the great conversation.
I think when we first connected, it was already nice, but this has been wonderful, and I'm very grateful to play with you tonight.
Thank you very much. Hang on a little bit, because I really believe this is just the first one. I think we will going to do it again. Every big movie has a sequel.
Yeah, it's true.
And the Eagles and the Rolling Stones and the Sex Pistols all already had union tours. So
yeah, well, maybe we'll go. We'll just decide what we want to create.
That's it. Ariane, I wish you all the best. I'm going to
thank you so much.
Put all the links in the comments so people can find you, and see you very soon, because I'm going to do such a solo thing, because I was already longing for that. But Jules was then born, but now, and Thomas also, he, how do you say that? He made my head crazy.
Around.
Yeah. So I'm going to do it. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be happy to be on the ground and support you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.